What is going on, Diesel Nation? Excited to have you guys with us today. We've got a really cool conversation we're going to have with Ben Shaddy, who is the owner of Done Right Diesel. And we're going to talk about his race truck, a ton of cool things that are going on in diesel and tuning and racing and a whole bunch of different things. Before we get to it, though, we want to thank a couple of our sponsors who help make episodes like this possible. The first is Precision Industries, and these guys have been building torque converters since the very beginning. They have a really cool program as well for your Cummins, Duramax, or Powerstroke. Is as your modifications change, if you need a restall, they have a free restall program. You just send them the converter, and they can change the stall for you. If you have any questions about what kind of converter you need, where to put the stall speed, what it can do for your truck, you need to give them a call. Their phone number is 800-649-7866, or just go to converter.com and you can browse all the different setups they got, find really helpful information about billet converters and what they can do for your truck. Also, we want to thank Diesel Doctor. Diesel Doctor, they're leading the way in building engines, whether it's for a stock truck, race truck, anywhere in between. The amount of technology and expertise that these guys have is second to none. Go to diesel911.com and you can find all the information for your LB7, your 6.7 Cummins, your 6.0, 6.4 Powerstroke, anything in between. They do it. And they have a 5-year warranty as well. So make sure you check them out. All right, let's get to this podcast with Ben and start talking about tuning and race trucks and tons of other things.
I'm Ryan Milliken from Hardway Performance, and you're listening to the Diesel Podcast.
I'm Dimitri Miller with No Zone Diesel.
This is Anthony Rings from XDP.
This is Jaron Holder from Holderdown Performance.
Corey Willis from PPEI.
I'm Drew with D&J Precision Machine.
I'm Pinky.
And you're listening to the Diesel Podcast.
Diesel Podcast.
You're listening to the Diesel Podcast.
The Diesel Podcast. The one and only Diesel Podcast.
Ben, welcome back to the Diesel Podcast. It's been a little while, but you've been busy out there in diesel racing and tuning and tons of different things.
Yeah, it's great to be back. It's been a very busy season so far, about halfway through it here, so things are going good, and we're hoping to finish strong. So
I have to ask you to start. I saw that you took the race truck out to Street Outlaws Armageddon, and I have to ask you, what was that like?
Oh, it was really cool. Just the atmosphere, something different than, out of the ordinary. Some of the fastest, the fastest no prep drivers in the country. It was really cool. A lot of the attendance was large. The atmosphere was great. It was something different than what we had been doing.
As far as the truck itself and going up against those guys, what was that like? Were there things that you learned or that you changed or just found out about the truck going up against a field like that?
Probably the biggest difference, and like that, those guys have been doing that a long time. The gas industry. They have their little weather stations going. They have their grip-o-meters. They have everything to know what tune-up to put in their cars or trucks that's going to make it down an unprepped surface. Where it was our first go around there, and it was fun. It was a great time. We had some little issues come up and we couldn't get the turbo spooled up against Chuck there in the first round. It was a loss, but it's in my book and all my guys' books. I think we had a good time, and we know that we want to do that again. And Paul Cato was there with his diesel as well, and he was representing well. And I'm hoping that, the next time we show up, we have this truck dialed in, and we're, obviously not going to win it. But we can put ourselves in position to maybe go a couple rounds and gain a little bit of respect from the guys running the spark plugs.
I think everyone's really excited about it, just to see that competition, and then to see what guys like yourself are able to do, and where it's going to take diesel drag racing is really exciting for everyone out there watching, and on social media, and people that can go that make the trip and go watch you guys.
Right. The support was huge. Even the guys that we line up against, and in our classes in the diesel industry, we're getting Snapchats, we're getting messages, or you're seeing people, watching the live feed. When we race those guys at the diesel events, you could swear some of us are ready to go toe to toe at the end. But it's really cool when you go to something like that. All the thoughts and respects and stuff you get from your, the diesel brotherhood. And it was a great feeling as well.
I can't wait till the next one. I'll be watching live feeds and stuff, or going and checking it out. So that's cool. And I saw Shy Diesel was just recent and saw trucks that you've tuned, and you guys were out there, and it seemed like another awesome show and just stiff competition again.
Oh, it is, no doubt. I mean, it's Diesel Motorsports has come a long way. And I think we can probably blame or credit UCC for that on forcing guys to do things that they wouldn't normally do. But as far as the Shide, we had a great weekend. Not so much on the drag side, but sled pull guys. Jason Wayman was able to get a win there on Friday night, and in the 3.0 limited pro class. Doug Monroe was a second place truck in the 2.6 smoothbore class on Friday night, and then Jason was able to come right back around in a field of 53 on Saturday night and back up that win with a second place. So it was a really good weekend for the sled pull stuff. On the drag race side, we went in trying a couple of things that we haven't before, and the rain limited us to 2 rounds of qualifying where we usually get 3, and I know that doesn't sound like a big deal, but it usually takes 2 or 3 rounds to get down the track, let alone get down the track with a couple new roadblocks. I call them roadblocks now, but I think it's going to be for the better of the truck. But so we end up qualifying last at the drag race at their Shides, and we were put out by Larson Miller in the first round. So we're going to do some testing next week, and then we'll be back to the ODSS circuit and the Hardway ODSS points race there in Florida.
Oh yeah. Ryan Milliken has that event going, and I did mark it off a long time ago. I think he invited me to it, and I think that's going to be another, really exciting event. That it's not that far off either. It's coming up here pretty quick.
It's about 2 weeks away, and they're doing a lot of cool stuff. Ryan and the Hardway crew are really putting a lot of neat stuff together. Not only for the drivers but the spectators as well. And that track is awesome. It's a great track. It's obviously it's in Florida. I don't know how you could not beat that. So if the consumer was thinking about not going, or you're on the fence, that I would probably go ahead and grab your tickets. He's got a jet car coming in, to run both days. I know Suncoast has got a major hand in on that as well. So I think it's going to be a really good event.
For sure. It's so cool to see these. I think as enthusiasm and more people are coming into diesel, these other type of races and these other things that are happening, that there's so many opportunities to watch these really fast trucks, or like Ryan's car with a Cummins power plant, all these things to watch. It's like, yeah, football season might be rolling around, but there's still racing going on. So
right.
That's really cool. There was a couple questions that we had gotten from a listener, and he wanted us to ask about, he's got a 03 early 04 Cummins, and he wanted us to ask, what is the difference between HP tuners and MM3 tuning? Are there any advantages to one versus the other? Can you do more with one versus the other? And I know you tune some of the most powerful trucks out there and have been doing it a really long time, so I was going to put you on the hot seat and ask you.
As far as the HP tuner versus like the MM3, we're simply talking about hardware there. So when it comes down to it, like the tuning, maps, everything that is needed to tune, the daily driven or even, the hot street truck. All the maps are there for, both platforms. We've done some back-to-back, same truck, same tune-up in both hardwares with the exact same results. So when you're looking on the market to purchase this, you need to think about like what's important to you. The Smarty MM3 it comes with a monitor. If a monitor is important to you, that's definitely the way you would want to go. Smarty has data logging now as well. I wouldn't consider it entry level. It's once you get used to it, it's good. It works well. But as far as the data logging, I would favor the HP tuners a little bit on the data logging. But the HP tuner is coming. They came out with an MPVI2, which is like a Bluetooth communication device where you don't have to have a cable between your laptop and your tool anymore to flash the truck. I've not used that a whole lot. I still have my old one. I have a new one too, but I have an old one that I'm going to use for a while yet, probably. But I've done both platforms with success. Neither one of them's held me up either way. So it's just whatever is important to you. The monitor or the Smarty is nice. You can handle all your tunes right on the screen. You don't have to pull out a laptop. When you do want a data log, it goes to the SD card. Then you take the SD card to the laptop. Where the HP tuners, you have to hook your laptop up. So it's user preference really. Neither platform is going to hold you back from doing anything you want to performance-wise. So it would just be whatever's important to you as an end user.
That's really cool. So even if they're not local to you, you can still tune any truck, whether it's 600 horsepower or 1600 horsepower, with either platform. You can still help them out with it.
Oh, sure. Yeah, with the data logging was, until Smarty came out with the data logging, we were heavy on the HP tuner, and when if somebody demanded they want a Smarty, we would sell it to them, but it wasn't because it's what we chose.
With as far as the different tunes that a guy could have, with either platform, can you just load one, or are they switchable where you can have a couple different ones on the Smarty or HP tuners and be able to select one, or how does that work?
As of now, the Smarty on like the 03 to 05 stuff, they have what's the power on demand, and that's just simply turning up a percentage of they're limiting a certain value to not let it go to full quantity, which I wouldn't necessarily call it a shift on the fly. You're just turning up and down a single tune. There has been some talk, and I've seen some stuff on social media about HP Tuner playing with a switch. I have not seen anything released yet, and I have not messed with anything. So as of now, you load a tune with HP Tuner, and if you want something different, you stop and load it again. With that being said, on the Smarty thing, on that 03 to 05 year, you can store multiple tunes on your monitor, but you still do need to stop and key on, engine off, and flash the file. There's no on the fly changing of tunes. There is what they call the power on demand, but it's not actually physically changing a tune.
I got you. Now, see, like if it's on a street truck, I mean, and it could be making some good power. Do you really even need another tune, or is it something where your right foot can almost control, how much fuel you're delivering? Where maybe for, say, a dedicated race truck or something like that, obviously there's going to be different files for different things, but
sure.
Do you really need multiple tunes, say, on a street truck?
Well, on my daily driver, my R&D vehicle, if there's a switchable tune on it, it's because I'm testing it, because that's what 99.9% of the people want. If it's up to me, I have one tune on my truck, because when the word tune to me is you maximize your vehicle's output. And anytime I've done that on a chassis dyno, on an engine dyno, when you maximize that output, it was when the engine was in its happiest state. So it's running cooler. It's making the most power. It's making the most power for a reason, because nothing's limiting it, and everything's working as it should. So in my opinion, I like single tunes myself, but we do support the switchable tuning. But the switchable tuning, especially on certain trucks, that got these advanced transmissions now that's doing, adaptive learning and stuff like that. You can really confuse one pretty quick by grabbing a knob and taking it from 1 to 5.
For sure. When I got that question in, I went to your website, and I was looking around, just see more about the MM3 tuning and HB tuners and stuff, and I saw some other things that you guys offer, and one of them that's come up is maintaining these vehicles, whether it's for racing, like say your truck or customer trucks, or a daily driver, and like fluids, so transmission fluid, axles, motor oil, things like that. And I saw that you guys sell Amsoil products, and I wanted to ask you, like, with your own vehicle, a race truck, what kind of benefits have you guys seen, say, with running their products, say versus conventional? If there's any temperature difference, performance differences, what are you guys seeing out there?
As far as the race truck, we are running the Amsoil. It's called the Dominator 15W50 oil. This is our first year for it, so we don't have tons of data. The data I do have is that we record engine block pressure on our data logger, and we've yet to see that over 1 pound. So, we shift at 5,400 RPMs. We see the data logger flash from 0 to 1. So we're somewhere in between a half pound to 1 pound, increments. And that does excite me, because we've, in the past, to make the power that we are, we've learned the hard way on a lot of things. And I'm not saying the Amsoil is what's taken care of, because we've changed a couple other things in the engine program. But as of right now, we have on the engine that's in the truck, we have 11 engine dyno passes, and it has 46 8-mile passes on it, and very minimal blow-by for a race engine. So, we'll know more at this winter on how that looks bearing-wise. I expect it to look pretty decent. I stay on top of the service in that too. So, and then my daily driver, the R&D truck 18 Ram, I run the Amsoil 1540. And I've been sending in different, samples of that oil. And like I said, I don't have any real data to back it, because I never really paid that much attention to the oil program before. So this year is going to be a really good baseline year for us, to see, how the oil is performing. As far as, cleanliness of the oil coming out of the race truck, the fuel dilution is very, very low, so that, we're still sealed up. And I guess, when you're trying a new oil and you don't have a rod hanging out, it's no news is good news. That's the way I look at it. So.
Yeah, I had chatted with the guys there over the summer, and they were talking about fuel dilution and different things like that, and protecting the motor. So it was cool, and I wanted to ask you more about it, because you've been racing forever and you've been involved in so many different builds and things, and that's what people want to hear from, are guys out there pushing the limits and at the center of diesel performance, which you are, and that kind of experience and what you're seeing is really important for what people are going to put into their daily driver or their race truck, and
Sure.
Go out there and have fun with.
Sure.
Well, Ben, I know you are busy and you've got a ton on your plate, and I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I definitely appreciate what you're doing with the race truck. I think before we chatted earlier in the year, or late last year, you were talking about some big things, and you're definitely doing that, and it's I think helping the sport tremendously. What you're doing, and the guys that you're helping out there, that we talk to it, and whether it's sled pulling, drag racing, all those sorts of things. So we all appreciate what you and your crew are doing.
Thank you very much. We appreciate the call, and I know I'm the one talking on this, but I got guys at the shop that allow me to get away and do things like this that I don't say thanks enough. So, all the guys, Lee, Jaron, Brandon, my wife, she's running, she runs all the books and tries to keep track of me, which is tough sometimes. So, but it's a lot of fun. We're having a blast doing it.
Thanks again, Ben. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Don't forget, diesel fans, make sure and head on over to converter.com. Check out what Precision Industries is doing for our diesel trucks and torque converter upgrades that you can use for towing, racing, or a street truck. And also to Diesel Doctor. Go to diesel911.com and check out a company that's leading the way in remanufactured engines, race engines, and helping get your truck back on the road. Till next time, keep the shiny side up.